Alright, here we are again. So yeah, since last time I ran out to each of the outposts and hooked them all up to the power grid. So as a result our max consumption's a bit higher, but we now should be officially off biomass everywhere. I also did a minor edit to this factory because I was realizing that I still hadn't automated the production of modular frames. And that edit involved using smart splitters. So I figure I'll just sort of go through real quickly how these work. So of course they are a splitter, Okay, well this is a merger, so bad example. But they are a splitter, so they divide your outputs across belts. However, you have a lot more control over exactly what goes where. So just to use these settings as an example, what's going on here is that I have the right output set to any, the left output set to none, so no output will ever go out the left side of this splitter. So as you can see, I have a bunch of things queued up back here, but the left output is set to none, so it doesn't matter. Then the right output is set to any, so that's pretty self-explanatory. That will basically act as a normal output of a normal splitter. But then the front output is set to overflow, and what that setting means is that it will only output to that direction if the other outputs it has, if all other outputs it has, are backed up. So because this is backed up, you'll get output here. But if, for example, I'll just rip this belt out temporarily, and then rip this belt out temporarily, and let's just re-belt those. That to there, that to there. So you can see that at first... Okay, well, make a liar out of me. Okay, there. So this is something I ran into before. So the splitters do seem to have sort of an internal buffer. As in, if I go to delete this, you see that it has 7 reinforced iron plates associated with it, even though to build it only requires 2. So what I believe that means is that there are a set of plates buffered inside this thing. So, as a result of that, when I first reconnected that line, it output some small number of plates, like 3 of them, and then there was a gap, because output was flowing over here, so it wasn't putting any new plates out onto that buffered output. And then once this backed up, then it started flowing here normally again. So let me see if I can do a better example of this. I'm going to get some extra plates in my inventory, but that's fine. What if I, belt this way out to here to give myself a bit more time? Let's get rid of this as well, just to make things simpler. How do I want to do this? Okay, yeah, let's just sort of lengthen these belts. So I'm going to have you go up to there, and then back to there. And I'll have you go... Let's just do something a bit janky. Let's have you go way out there, and then around, and then into there. So... first off, let's open up this output so it starts flowing. So now, I'll open up this one, and we'll get a little bit of buffered output. Okay, that was more than I was expecting. But as you can see, now it's flowing this direction so that any output has not backed up yet. So as a result, the overflow path isn't getting any output besides what was already pre-buffered for it. Now that that's backed up, now we see overflow output. So the point of this setup here is that if this storage container over here, which should be full of reinforced iron plates, if that has any space left to fill at all of my reinforced iron plate production should go towards that. And only when that backs up completely will the excess reinforced iron plate production go towards this little assembler I added in here, making modular frames. So I hope that makes some sense. The whole buffering of stuff within splitters is something I'm not super familiar with, but that's how I have to imagine that it is working, is that there's a little sort of mini buffer of resources that the splitter has already sort of pre-divided inside itself. But yeah, so that is the overflow behavior, is only when other outputs are backed up will you get overflow output. And honestly, it's basically the only setting on the smart splitter that I have used regularly. The primary way that I will use that is not for something like this, it's outputting to an awesome sink. So I have one just kind of sitting down here, not really doing much. Oh, I guess I did dump some resources in there earlier that it's chewing through. Just some excess quick wire and other things. But the way that I normally would use a smart splitter would be when some sort of assembly line has been fully consumed, as in, like, you know, it's not being used for anything actively, such as if it was going into a storage container and the storage container was backed up, as is the case here, then I'll use that overflow setting to divert all production from the machine into an awesome sink instead. And that means that anytime your production isn't getting utilized anymore, it's not, you're producing in excess of what you need, you can take that excess and sink it for tickets. But yeah, there are other settings on the smart splitter. For example, you can select specific items. I think this list just contains every item in the game. So you can be like, oh boy, if you see a gas mask come by, I really want it to go out. Another output. Now, this can be very, very great if you have, a bunch of resources that are being delivered to the same drop-off point, like one of those truck stations, for example, and then you can filter the output from that single truck station. So you don't need to have one truck station drop-off point per resource. You can just have one drop-off point and then filter the outputs. Now, there are some trade-offs with an approach like that, but hopefully you get the idea. And I think... So, I'm going to be honest with you, I'm not familiar with this any undefined. The way that I am assuming that works is that anything that you have not explicitly listed in one of your other rules for the splitter will go out the any undefined. So, functionally, I'm assuming that in this case, any undefined and any doesn't make a difference. As in, I don't have a rule that's specifying something specific to do with reinforced iron plates, so they'll just flow out that way. But if I say, boy, I really want reinforced iron plates to go out the left side of this, and then redo this test again, I'm betting that, never mind. Let me look that up real quick. How about that? I'll be right back. Well, I'm going to be straight with you. That wasn't very illuminating, because the description that I found online seems to imply exactly the behavior I was expecting, but that's not what I was getting. Alright, I'm just gonna cut in here during the edit to try to clarify things, because I did experiment with smart splitters in a sort of sandbox save after the fact. And the core confusion that I seem to have been running into is that smart splitters, if they don't have a belt hooked up to an output, they effectively seem to act as if that output setting doesn't exist. So in this clip here, you can see that I have any undefined set to go off to the right, and I have iron plates set to go straight ahead. And at first, when I connect to the belt, those iron plates go off to the right, as if they're undefined. But that is because I don't have a belt hooked up to that middle input, which specifies iron plates. As soon as I hook that up, you can see that flow off to the right hand, the undefined side, stops. Meanwhile, if I then go and back that line up, that has no effect. The line is still connected, so the splitter still sees it, but only if I then completely delete that straight line does it then start flowing off to the right again, because the splitter sees it as completely inactive. So I hope that clears things up, and let's get back to my past self. Now they flow over there. So, I mean, that's the behavior I was expecting. So maybe my editor will have more thoughts on how I screwed this up. But at least it does seem to do what I expected it to do. But yeah, so that is modular frames being automated over there. I don't think we have many of them, but at least it's something, so there's a reserve. Now, I definitely want to get out and do some exploring now that we've got coal power up. First of all, I don't feel like I have to babysit anything. All factories will continue to produce without issue out to infinity, because they're not going to run out of biomass or power at all. But before that, I think it's high time we actually look at some of these milestones. Okay, yeah, that is very achievable. We definitely have all the resources for that sitting around. And yeah, so that's Logistics Mark III. So that's the industrial storage container. So functionally, this is sort of a better version of that stacked container setup that I was already doing. It's a double tall container, and it's got 2 inputs, 2 outputs. At least I believe it has 2 outputs. So not only is the inventory shared, it's all one big inventory, but you can technically input to it at double rate, because you can run in 2 conveyor belts. And speaking of which, we're getting faster conveyor belts, so we can transport resources at 270 resources per minute. I always felt like that was a bit of a weird jump. Am I crazy? Because this is 60. Double to 120. Double that would be 240. But instead, Mark III is 270. I don't know why that's the case. I'm not complaining, because, more output speed is always good, but I just don't understand. That's fine, though. Faster belts, faster lifts, always good. Stackable pipeline support. Maybe they expect you to be overclocking things at this point and think that an extra boost above doubling would help you out. Because what is 70 divided by 120? 2.25. Interesting. So yeah, if you had a single power slug added to a machine, for example, that would output 120, it would instead output... Oh, sorry, that would output 240. It would instead output 270. I don't know. Just a interesting little question there in terms of game design. All right. So I can certainly dump in reinforced iron plates. I was getting a lot of those. Not enough, though. But we certainly have more. Okay, so 200 steel beams, 200 steel pipes. Let's go grab that and send that off. And you can see that here's my power line. Oh, you know what? I was about to head out, but what I should be doing is trying out the zip line. I haven't been using that at all. I don't think we'll need the chainsaw nearly as often as we have been needing it, so let me get that out of there. And let's see if we can construct that power zip line. Okay. So yeah, with this, if you jump to a power line and hold left click, I believe it's left click, you will grapple onto it. Oh. I don't know why I got that achievement. I didn't feel like I was moving all that fast. Interesting. But yeah, let me grapple onto this. And you can also sort of enter a sprint mode, same as you would while walking, and build up a pretty respectable amount of speed. Now the question is, can I get this down well enough to jump between lines reliably? So I'm just letting off left click to sort of propel myself. Wow, that is so fast, though. That's very nice. Okay, so we were here for steel beams and steel pipes. I feel like maybe I should grab a little bit more of both of those. First of all, because our storage seems to be pretty backed up. And secondly, because I'm sure that further milestones will require these. Alright, let's see if I can jump to that. Yes, no problems. I think there's something you can do with right-click with this as well. Like, I want to say right-click, yeah, sort of puts you into a mode of permanently holding the line. And then left-click will disable that mode. Let me test this. So I just tapped right-click to permanently hold it. And yeah, you can see that it's still in that right-click mode. It's sort of permanently deployed, even though I'm not pressing any buttons. Nope. Let's see if we can get back on. Yes. Woo, okay. It's going to take some getting used to, but that is a very fast means of traversal. Probably the fastest we have right now. At least when you're sprinting while using it. Right, let's get this milestone completed.
Milestone reached. Improved storage containers and the conveyor belt Mark III provide the obviously necessary tools for improving your current setup. Production speed is of the essence after all. So work hard. Work as if every person you have ever or will ever love is depending solely on the choices that you make. Because they are. Warning. Fix-it psychologists recommend not dwelling on the crushing mental and physical strain of your responsibilities and simply continuing to be productive. Hard work has repeatedly proven to be the best cure for any kind of stress. Now back to work.
Brutal. Oh, I did change up the color scheme that I was using as well. This Fix-It factory swatch. I think I left the colors the same, but I did change it to matte instead, because up close, I kind of really like the look of that, like very flat sort of color blockiness to it. I think it looks especially good on the freighter, but we'll have to take a look at that when it comes back. All right, advanced steel production. Okay, and yes, here's where getting modular frames finally running on their own should pay off. 200 rotors, 500 concrete. Closed it out before I was finished looking at it. 100, 100. Okay. Got the rotors, need the concrete. Oh, and that's right. I also was trying to get enough silica to get a MAM upgrade, and I'm just not quite there. I haven't found like any quartz nodes yet. That is one thing that I'm really hoping to find during our explorations. Okay, pod will return in a couple minutes. Okay, so this will unlock a miner Mark II, which ironically means, because it doubles the output extraction rate, it means that I could go back and replace all of my overclocked miner Mark Is at the coal plant with these Mark II miners instead and recover all of those power shards. I'll have to keep that in mind. I'll probably do it at some point off camera, because those power shards could probably be put to better use somewhere else. Encased industrial beams. Okay. So yeah, I think these combine steel beams and concrete. I think that's the case. I wonder if we can just sort of extend off of our steel beam production at the steel factory over there with some concrete in the same way that that we did over here for modular frames, you know, using a smart splitter so that we'll fill up containers full of iron beams and then switch over to making encased industrial beams as soon as our output is full. That probably won't be too difficult. I guess I haven't even seen the recipe yet, so we'll see. Stators. Okay. I do not remember how these are made. Same with motors. I think motors need rotors. Oh my. But I don't remember the rest of the recipe at all. An expanded power infrastructure, which requires encased industrial beams, so I have to get those getting made first. Oh. Power storage. I can hear the freighter coming back in. I feel like power storage was not here before. I feel like that was way further along, but maybe I'm just forgetting. Okay, well, freighter is back. Let's select this milestone and then immediately complete it, I believe.
Milestone reached. The Miner Mark II allows extraction of resources from nature to fix it at twice the speed of the Mark I model. Miners can be directly upgraded to Mark II without removing the Mark I model, just like conveyor belts and other upgradable infrastructure. Unfortunately, setting up the production of advanced steel parts and project part number 3, automated wiring, will not be as easy. Every moment you delay reduces the chances of saving humanity. I will not show you the predictions, it would only demotivate you.
Ada's bedside manner needs some work, but she doesn't know. And even if she did, I don't know that she'd care that much. Alright. So yeah, everything except for the encased industrial beams. And yes, those are steel beams and concrete made in an assembler. So let's go and try to get that set up as fast as possible. I want to say, yeah, I thought there was a limestone node just over here. It is impure, that probably doesn't matter. I won't have a portable miner. Oh, that's in the equipment bench, isn't it? So let's just make a few of those. I feel like I'll need some later on as well, because I do want to go out scouting around for other resources. And now that these stack, I don't feel so bad about making an excess of them. 8. That feels like it should be plenty. Alright, production. What is the marked? Of course it requires encased industrial beams. Okay. So let's turn you around. And then let's get down that assembler, wherever we're going to put it. Maybe like over here, honestly. Set it to encased industrial beams. Okay, 18 per minute steel beams. Oof. I feel like one constructor isn't gonna hit that. It is closer than I thought, though. I think it's basically maxing out our steel production. Yeah, so this won't be a very efficient production line. Do I need the big one? Maybe let's just build the big one, why not? Excuse me. Be like there. Then you also need 36 concrete per minute. Let's get a constructor down and take a look at what that looks like in terms of concrete production. 1545 per minute. And of course you output 30 per minute. Okay, yeah, gosh, that's even lower than I thought. Okay, well, yeah, for now, let's at least get something running, even if it's very, very inefficient. Can I squeeze a smart splitter in here? That is a question. And I have my doubts. It looks like it's gonna let me do it. It's not gonna be pretty, but yeah, center output any, left output overflow. And then let's just pull a belt. Whoops. Pull a belt off you over here. Up. And into there. Okay. So I think that should start flowing once steel beams backs up. Because I've got to take a look at the top to get a real sense of that. Okay, it's close at least. And of course, got to hook everything up to power. So yeah, this is a not at all efficient. Oh, bad. Not at all efficient production line. But at least we'll start accruing some of these. And in the meantime, I might make some by hand, trying to hit that milestone. Let's try to get this again. Good. Ooh, yeah, that's a hard gap to make reliably. Yeah, again, gonna take some getting used to on that, but it's just so fast. I feel like we gotta give it a try. Okay. So yeah, for expanded power infrastructure, we need 50 of these. Let's see what that looks like in terms of handcrafting. Okay, I certainly have the resources for it, so let's give it a shot. Okay, I made a bit more, just because I assume we'll be needing some at some point soon. And hey, we beat the freighter, so honestly, maybe I should keep going. I did want to think about, though, going and swapping out those miners at the coal plant, because yeah, that's a lot of power shards to recoup. And here comes the freighter, so we can go ahead and exchange for that next milestone. And yeah, I like the look of this thing with the new color scheme. Alright. On to expanded power infrastructure. Yeah, these power towers are really, really nice for spanning huge distances with your power network. And yeah, power storage is really interesting. I don't think I really have much use for that right now, but I'm really excited for it later on. We'll see. Alright. Do we have everything for this? Not the modular frames. I'll have to grab those. Oh, or the wire. 2,000 wire. Wow. Good thing that's been going for so very long. Alright, there we go. 200, finally. Let's go ahead and get that in.
Milestone reached. After several pioneers started exhibiting traumatic responses to power blackouts, Fixit developed mitigation tools recommended by your local therapist. Power storages can hold excess power to delay or prevent blackouts in the eventuality that your factory's power consumption exceeds production. To simplify, these are rechargeable batteries. Power towers carry power lines for significantly greater distances than poles, facilitating factory expansion and exploitation of this environment for the good of Fixit and humanity.
In that order, I am sure. Alright, so let's take a look at some of those recipes. So power towers require steel beams, not encased beams though, so that's nice. These require modular frames, which are currently the bane of my existence, but I'll have more of them soon. I don't feel like we're in need of power storage at the moment. But I'll have to think on, I'll have to remember that's available. And then the last one from this tier is hypertubes. Oh, which is actually really simple. Could get this pretty quick. I'll at least select it. Maybe we'll have some encased industrial beams to come back to, because I am thinking that I should go over and swap out those coal miners to Mark IIs while I am thinking about it. Oh, of course, I need 40 modular frames. Oof, okay. Oh, there's no point even checking the storage bin over there. It won't have produced nearly enough. So let's just crank those out. Alright, let's get heading that way. And I was thinking we could start placing power towers in the meantime. Sort of change out this this existing line that we've got here. If I can find a good spot to look into, or a better spot. Maybe not. Okay. I certainly don't want to just disconnect this existing line, since we'd lose power everywhere. So let's try to drag you along here in parallel, and then we'll remove the other line afterwards. So yeah, these power towers, they have a low connection, which connects to standard power targets. And then they have this high connector, which only connects to other power towers. So you can't like run straight from this top connection to a normal power pole. That's what the bottom connector is for. So hopefully that helps clarify for somebody, because if you don't notice that bottom connector, it can be a tad confusing. But yeah, as you can see, these things can really stretch. So yeah, we're getting some errors about stuff being in the way, but we're still not to the limits of the line here. So maybe we can put this right around here. So now let's connect you back to the other, if I can find it out there. Where are you? Down there. Going right through that tree. That's okay. And now I assume it might just take one more to connect all the way down to there. Nice. That's so cool. But yeah, I'll probably just put it right around there, something like that. We should have line of sight to reconnect, hopefully. Let's get down there. You to you. Beautiful. Okay, and then you will connect to our external line. Okay. So now, it should be safe to cut this. Didn't hear any fuses complaining, so that's a good sign. Alright, well let's go get those miners swapped out. Oh yes, I just left this tractor here. Okay, upgraded to miner Mark II. Right there. Just have to pull the power shard and it defaults back to 100. Okay. No longer overclocked. Oh wow, these consume 15 megawatts anyway, so that's actually more than my overclocked Mark I miners were doing. But at least I have the power shards back to use elsewhere, if needed. Okay, so I should have 8 power shards. Looking good. my water flow rate ever even out? Gosh, it's so much louder here than everywhere else that I've ever built. And yeah, we got these nice blue pipes now. What are you looking like? You still spike and settle. Okay. Maybe that's just the nature of the beast, though. You're fine, always. Permanent 300. And you're giving me 10.1 head lift. You're giving me a lot, actually. Is it you who's not giving much? Yeah, like 6.9. Okay. So let's try actually ripping that out. So let's do you bypass all the way to there. Okay, well, I think that worked out. Let's get headed back. Ooh. Let's talk about that. Ooh. Okay, okay. Excuse me. Can I dismantle while riding the power line? No. Okay. So now, I think I want to do one last minor update, hopefully minor. Need modular frames. I figure I'll go over and try to at least increase concrete production for the encased industrial beams, just to make that slightly more efficient. I suppose I could overclock steel beam production, because so often we have steel pipes just backed up, not doing anything. So let's drop one in here and target 18. And that means I'll have to upgrade a whole bunch of, well, not a whole bunch, but, you know, a handful of belts. One belt, literally one belt, to make that possible. So now you should be able to hit 18 per minute. And you demand 36 per minute concrete. And I think I'm only producing like 15 per minute. Why do you have so much concrete sitting in here? I guess you were starved for steel beams for a long time. And then it started to overflow. Okay, alright, that makes sense. So I guess the question is, how much can we get out of you? Ooh, yeah, let's just crank it. 150 per minute. Okay. That's better than I was expecting. Okay. I didn't even think about it. I guess if you double enough times. So let's see. 36? 36. So that's 3 constructors. 15, 15, and 1 that is doing 6. So that's gonna be 18, and then 45, 45. So 90 plus 18, so 108. So let's set you to a target of 108. And I can pull a power shard back. And then let's do a splitter. And let's just take you right over there. Alright. So, Mark 1s all the way should be good. And I think those ratios should all work out. That's kind of the magic of being able to overclock like this, is that you can just, very, very explicitly set exactly the correct ratio, exactly what your production target needs to be. Granted, this thing is burning 32.6 megawatts, so all on its own. Yeah, gosh, so even a full biomass burner couldn't support that one miner at this point. That's incredible. This is why overbuilding coal power, I think, was the right decision, because it won't be overbuilt for long. Alright. Well, I will take another quick look around to make sure that we're all looking good everywhere. And then maybe we can go do some more exploring. That's going to be the end of today's episode. Thank you all for joining me, and I hope to see you in the next one.